The next award is the Republican Woman of the Year Award. And to present that award is David Bressler. David Bressler is a Republican candidate for New York City Assembly race in the 26th Assembly District in Northeast Queens. And he is the regional manager of Bimbo Bakeries USA. So I had to look up Bimbo's Bakeries right before I got it. Just to do my homework. So Bimbo Bakeries is the largest bakery. We should actually make this trivia. Bimbo Bakeries is the largest bakery company in the United States, and it boasts of brands such as Entenmann's, Sara Lee, and over 20 more household baked goods. David Bressler will present the Republican Woman of the Year Award to Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis. And I just have to say that the Honorable Nicole Malliotakis was the first person to endorse me for New York City Comptroller in 2013.
I don't remember.
So she is a phenomenal elected politician, but she also knows talent.
Boy, it's really nice to be here today, seeing so many Republicans in the room. You all look and sound great. This is my first Lincoln dinner, and I'm proud to be here. It took me 142 years to get here, but I'm very proud to be here. And it's some introduction to be from Bimbo Bakeries, but that's for another time and place. But we're here for Nicole Malliotakis. I'm privileged and honored to recognize the Assemblywoman as the Republican Woman of the Year for Women's History Month. Nicole is being honored for speaking out boldly on the major issues of public safety, national security, and the rule of law, which affect all New Yorkers. She's a shining example of a true leader elected by the people to uphold the principles of the Republican Party in our government. The Assemblywoman is a daughter of Greek and Cuban immigrants. Her mother, a Cuban exile of the Castro regime. In 2013, she was recognized as a rising star and was selected to speak at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. as one of the nation's top 10 under 40 rising stars. Nicole is the New York Republicans' true star. Nicole has fought for stricter immigration laws with those elected officials who feel protecting the people that elected them is not a priority. That's the problem we have in Washington. As a daughter of immigrants, she cherishes those who come here to pursue the American dream, but makes a clear distinction between those who enter legally as opposed to those who enter illegally. Nicole always fights for the people's safety and protection, and that's why she stands out among elected officials. Now, I'll be running as a candidate for the New York Assembly for District 26 in 2018. Thank you. It would be my honor to work with Nicole in the New York State Assembly, where I know I would be working side by side with an elected official that puts the people ahead of the politics. What a role model she has been for future potential Republican candidates like myself and the Republican Party. So without further ado, I am honored to present the award to Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis as the Woman of the Year for Women's History Month. Let's give her a big hand.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
I have to laugh at the music because somebody's been watching my Facebook page because I just put a photo of me with boxing gloves because I started taking up boxing fitness in Albany because I needed some outlet for my frustration up there, so I took up boxing. Well, maybe one day, we'll see. Yes, I'm, for those of you who are wondering, I'm suing Mayor de Blasio, and that's what we're taking him to court. I think it's about time that he followed the laws of our city, our state, and our federal government. And well, I want to thank Phil and Joe and all the members of the Queens Village Republicans for honoring me tonight. It's really an honor and privilege to be here. It feels nice to be with Republicans. In New York City and New York State, obviously, we're extremely outnumbered, and I'm often very lonely. In the New York State Assembly, there's only 2 of us out of 64. And so we would welcome David, wherever he went. We would welcome him to Albany. We could certainly use his help. I've spent the last 7 years, instead of pushing the things that I would like to see happen in New York and some of the changes and policies that should be taking place to make our state a better place, I've been spending all my time trying to stop bad things from happening. And that is the reality of what our job is when you're in the minority of the Assembly. And I want to acknowledge also Chad Lupinacci of Long Island, who's with us, my colleague, and J.C. Polanco, who's representing our leader, Brian Kolb. And our conference has really, I think, done a really good job standing up, number one, against Sheldon Silver, and finally being the first ones to call for him to resign. I was very proud to be one of the first ones in 2012 to call for his resignation when he tried to use taxpayer money to fund to silence victims of sexual harassment. So forget about all the stuff that he was just convicted for. Even way before that, he was doing the wrong thing. And I had called for him to resign back in, it was 2013, I believe. And people wouldn't even talk to me in the hallway because I actually spoke up against one of the most powerful individuals in the state. But it was the right thing to do. And for the last 7 years, I've been spending a lot of my time trying to push back against bad policies, trying to stop your tax dollars from being used to fund political campaigns. That's the latest bill, and the governor's been pushing, is using your tax dollars to fund every dollar that we raise. I get $6 of your tax dollars to fund my campaign. It's a completely disgraceful use of taxpayer money, almost as bad as trying to use your taxpayer money to fund tuition assistance for illegal immigrants when your children are graduating with a tremendous amount of debt from college. You may be working 2 or 3 jobs to pay for your own child's education. And this year, and we've been successful in defeating these bills because of our colleagues in the Senate. We're very lucky that we've been able to retain the power by 1 in the New York State Senate. Or else all these things that we've been fighting against will become law and will be even worse. This year, the Assembly took it to an all-new level. They decided it was a good idea to bring up what they call a sanctuary state bill to the floor to debate. And it sounds like sanctuary sounds like a nice thing, but what the sanctuary for is not only just individuals who are here illegally. We're talking about individuals who are illegally and commit crimes, murder, rape, gang members, all sorts of drug dealing, every single crime, including, as I said, murder and rape. This is what this bill would do. It would protect them, unless they had previously been deported and returned back, and they have this felony conviction. In that case, those two circumstances have to be met in order for them to comply with federal detainer requests. So literally, if someone's here, they've never been deported before, but they're here illegally, and they commit murder, this legislation would protect them and tie the hands of our state law enforcement from complying with federal detainer requests. And it's a similar, actually much worse, believe it or not, than what the mayor had done, because at least the mayor's not protecting murderers. But the mayor's bill, what he does do is protect 447 different crimes. And if you see him on the interviews, he's very good at trying to deflect and say, well, the sanctuary, we don't want to break up families. We don't want to break up people who are breadwinners of their family. I didn't know that breadwinning was a defense for grand larceny. Right. And then when he said, well, drunk driving is not a serious violation, I mean, tell that to the mothers against drunk driving who could not believe that the mayor of the city of New York, whose Vision Zero is his #1 policy, is saying that drunk driving is not a serious crime. So he waves around a list saying, well, there's 170 crimes and we comply with federal detainer requests in all these circumstances. But what he doesn't tell you is there's 447 other crimes, including sexual assault, including sex abuse, including forcible touching, including grand larceny, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degree, and countless others that he's allowing, that he's actually restricting our law enforcement from doing their job and complying with federal detainer requests to deport people who are committing crimes against our citizens. And that is completely wrong, and that's why he must be defeated in November. Government's first priority must be to protect its citizens. And that's why my colleague Ron Castorina, who's he's the other Republican out of the two of us, the 64 from the city of New York, we brought a lawsuit against the mayor recently, which is currently being reviewed, and we expect the judge to make a decision soon. But what our lawsuit is based on the fact that our mayor is breaking city, state, and federal law by trying to create a municipal ID card program, which whether you agree with it or not, it's fine. If you want to issue IDs to 1 million people, fine. But do not destroy the records associated with, so we don't know who we gave these ID cards and how they obtained them. That is a major issue that we should all be concerned about. All but one of the 9/11 hijackers used some form of identification that they obtained by fraudulent means. And we have a mayor who thinks it's okay to give out ID cards to individuals without proper documentation. Someone can come into this country, check into a homeless shelter for 14 days here in the city of New York. That qualifies them for residency as a New York City resident. They can use a foreign expired passport or a visa, which is not machine readable. And we know that these are all being fraudulently created all over the world. This is a major, major problem that we have. And you can get a New York City ID card, create a false identity for you, because our mayor is going to destroy all the records, so no one will know really what you used or how you got that ID card. And judicial inquiries can't be met, can't be satisfied, because if a court wants to get some background information of an individual as part of an investigation, they can't do so. Our law enforcement wants to look up some of the background information on an individual because they may have committed a crime, can't do so. And I think that's a major issue. And so we've sued this mayor to try to stop that, because it's okay. You want to give out these ID cards, fine, but make sure that the records are intact, because that's what the law requires. I know we have a lot of other speakers, so I'm going to wrap up. I want to first, two things. First, let me acknowledge some individuals who are here, because they are important to me, and when I was first elected, no one thought I could win because I took on an incumbent who had been there for 4 years. And no one, you know how it works. It's very difficult to defeat an incumbent. That's why, David, don't give up. I really think you can actually win that seat, because the Republican who ran for mayor 4 years ago took that district, so you can win that seat here in Queens. But we have with us Craig Eaton, who was the chairman in Brooklyn when I was running for the first time. He was one of my first supporters. We have Letitia Amar, as a former Richmond County chairwoman, also was my campaign manager. We have John Antonello, former chairman on Staten Island as well, who was my treasurer in my first campaign. Curtis Sliwa, who was my headliner at my first fundraiser when I first ran back in 2010. We have Avi Nagili, who's the Independence Party chairman on Staten Island. And I have my good friend and supporter, and that's John Katzimatidis. In Greek, I call him No. That's a godfather in Greek. That's my No, John Katzimatidis, who I've known for many years, going back to my days working for the government. And with that said, I just want to close by saying one thing, because we are at a Lincoln Day dinner, and so with all these policies that we're seeing coming out of the liberal city council, the state assembly, and sometimes on our federal level as well, I think we got to remember the words of Abraham Lincoln, and when he said, "America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves." So thank you so much for working with me to push back on some of these terrible policies. And let's work together to win this election in November.
On this side.
There we go.
There we go. There's the salsa.